Oops. So much for fading out the music. I just realized we are at zero already. Countdown is there. Hello, guys and girls. Welcome to today's pretty much different stream than usual. I'm just trying something new today that I haven't done yet. I was always asked to do like kind of track reviews. Cheers, coffee first. So, and yeah, it's gonna get interesting. I'm a little bit nervous about today because, yeah, obviously it's a new format that I haven't done so far, and it's yeah, what can I say? So, task for today: track review time or track listening time, listening to your tracks, offering my 2 cents on what I think about it. And for those of you who don't know who I am or why I feel that I can do that, so I've been doing production music for the last 12 years. And since September last year, I also run my own production music label together with my business partner Ram, DocuScores and Reality Scores, where I also work as the creative director, giving out briefings and obviously kind of listening to the tracks that our team sends in and giving feedback and all that stuff. And I have received enough feedback in my lifetime to know or to at least think to have an understanding of why a track works or doesn't work. And especially, and this is something that I want to point out, I'm definitely looking at that at the angle from usability in a production music context. That's where my background is and where I'm coming from. So obviously that field is very, very broad. And there's just so much. Okay, piano's working. So much different styles of music that can work for production music. So that's my background where I'm coming from, and the goal ultimately is to make that into a fun learning experience for everyone, and hopefully we will get one or two nice things that we can learn from that. For me too, because it's a new situation for me, as I mentioned before, and obviously. First of all, hats off to everyone who sent in their tracks. I don't know if we can do all today because we're quite a few submissions. One of the rules is patrons from my Patreon and members of the Discord server go first. But then I will pretty much just go through the list the way the cues came in and see what we can manage today. I will leave a few notes and thoughts along the way. But long story short, let's just get going with the first cue. And I will see how that goes and what we can do with that. So I saved them, well, not all of them, but a bunch already in my track review folder. There we go. So first one that arrived was Collapse by Leveler Beats. So at least that is working. So how can we send a cue? Yeah, solid question. Send ideally a Dropbox link or something to a WAV file to track reviews at composingtutorials.com. Hey, Amia, good to see you. So just trying to follow up with a question. Good evening from the Netherlands. Hey, Remco. So what I want to do is give it a listen first, and then maybe talk about one or two things that I think. I will be honest with you guys. I tried to make that this first time listening experience for me as well. But I was sneaky and listened to some of the submissions first because I was so nervous and don't know how that goes. So, but 80% of the tracks are a first listen experience for me as well. So I haven't heard much of the stuff before. But just so you know, as a heads up, there were 1 or 2 or 3 tracks that I listened to already. But I try to forget about it and will behave in a way that it's like the first time listening for me at all. And second note is, obviously, I will try to be as honest as possible. So if something is great, obviously, I will call it that. If something plain sucks, I might call it that too, although I doubt that something plainly sucks, but I don't sugarcoat things. So if there's some stuff, I think the reason why we do this is to actually learn from it and learn from the good as well as from the bad. So if there is some bad stuff happening, please always keep in mind it's never personal. I purely look at the music itself and how I and put my thoughts to that. That has nothing to do with you as a composer or as a person. It's never personal. It's purely based on the music. So with that out of the way, let's take a quick listen to the first cue. I asked people if you submit to maybe leave a note or if you want to know anything specific. So first track is from Christian. Song is called Collapse, E minor, 95 BPM. Maybe let's bring the session to the tempo. Question is there a chance when I apply to a label like Sony Universal with this song? Okay, so let's take a listen. I mean, I can't speak for Sony or Universal, but I can speak from my own experience. So let's get rolling, you know? First track, Collapse by Leveler Beats. And by the way, you are free to leave your feedback in the chat as well. So if you want to put your thoughts down. Wow. Oh, wow. What a great solo violin sound. Oh, by the way, we can switch the view here. Sorry, I keep going. Quick explanation. The piano you sound in between is me trying to play around, so don't worry about that. There was no piano jump, that was me. I'm sorry for distracting from the track. I would consider this as a solid intro for such a kind of stream. Christian, bloody great track. That's first. So first impression is it's really solid production. Great choice of sounds. Yeah, pretty much we're done here. Have all a great week. See you next time. No, obviously I want to try to make that a little bit more educational. So just want to bring in a little bit of analyzer tool, just so we can look a little bit at the frequencies and stuff like that. Hey, Eve. Great to have you around. So just want to make sure, yeah, this deck is always on top. Few notes on the side. So as I've said, the production quality is amazing. This choice of samples and sounds is amazing as well. The solo vocal is embedded very nicely. Downside for me a little bit, I already forgot how it sounded. So in terms of memorability, I'm missing that big theme that you hum afterwards with that kind of track. So it sounds huge, it sounds produced very well, and even the emotion is there. But the main element of a memorable melody is something that I'm missing a little bit. But I want to give it another spin just to make sure. I would turn a little bit down so E minor to C, classic intro part. That duduk is gorgeous. I love that progression here, that you leave the E minor soundscape a little bit. From E minor to do. That A major is great at that point. I love that. Also, you bring back the E minor to C in the building part here. So I love the fact that you change it just for one time with the harmonic choices there. With a E to G to B minor to A major, and then back to the EC part. So that's a great choice there. Keeps the interest going. Percussion production is solid. That intro is gorgeous. That's I would love to know what solo violin you used there. You know what? I think you changed the key here. So we're leaving E minor and go to B minor. Has also a little bit of a Celtic medieval feel. I love the playful piano. Along the lines. I mean, Back to C and E minor. The use of the hybrid elements, the Brahms, is very subtle here as well, but enough to raise the beef bar, so to say, for the final part. The choir is a tad buried in the mix. In the only thing for me is, if I were to criticize a little bit, is that the percussion runs a little bit all over the place in that last part. So I mean, I understand the intention behind it. You want to raise it even more and make it bigger, but especially with low end and hard hitting percussion, it not necessarily gets bigger when you do more of them, but rather when you have the big hits on the one and rather do mid frequency percussion and stuff like that do the faster part. So it gets a little mushy in the low end with the hits coming that often and the low drums hitting more and more. It's kind of like you intentionally try to vary the rhythms, having all these triplets in between, da 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 dum 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 da da dum dum da da dum dum dum, and but it takes a little bit away from the flow there. So that might be something I personally would reduce a little bit with these rhythmic variations in the low end drums there, and rather let the high strings that bring the energy and you have the solo vocal on top for the final, let that shine and bring the energy that you need for the part. But honestly, this is really just a minor but honestly, this is really just a minor critique there. It's nothing major. The track is absolutely solid. Your question was if you could send that off to Universal or Sony or bigger labels. I would say absolutely. Fantastic work. Christian, very well done. So, that was number one. I think that was a great intro. So next one, we have Felix. Track called Playing Ping Pong. Just take a quick look at the notes. Here's my track about the joy, the competitiveness, and the desperation you get when playing ping pong. In C major, and tempo is 160 until bar 27. Then it changes to C sharp major. Bar 69 changes to C sharp minor, and tempo is 90. Okay, we have a lot of tempo changes, so I don't even worry about setting the tempo here. I did not do a lot of mixing and mastering since I'm a beginner. Okay, does being a beginner justify not spending time on mixing and mastering? But he would love to know how to improve on that end. So let's give it a listen. And by the way, this is not all about like just epic tracks. I mean, obviously they have a certain appeal, and but I am open to whatever comes along. So let's see where we going with that. That piano's me. Okay. Felix, first of all, thanks for the submission. I'll be honest, it's clearly, or you can clearly hear that you're a beginner. So some thoughts. There are some nice ideas in there, especially melodic ideas that are very nice. The whole string part with the brass in the middle here needs some massaging in the harmony. So there are some notes that are, I mean, it's one thing to intentionally go dissonant. That can be used to great effect. But some notes, especially when the brass comes in, sound plain wrong in this context. That it's not. It just sounds like harmonically a little bit all over the place. So I have a hard time to process what is actually happening musically there. So not a big fan of that part. I'll be honest there. In terms of mixing, make sure if you the playfulness and I wanted to mention that, especially with the story behind it, like the ping pong game and stuff like that, the track makes way more sense than if you would not have that description. So if you would listen to that on its own, it might be a little bit hard to really follow along what you intend with a cue. I wanted to say the high piano notes and stuff like that. Be really careful with the mixing, where you see these high notes stick out like a sore thumb here. This is a very nasty frequency. That hurts in the ear, actually, if you listen to that louder. So make sure to tame these kind of frequencies. You still get the feel and the information that you want to provide with these playful high piano notes, but it definitely needs some massaging on the mixing end. Overall, the track to me sounds more like an amalgamation of various ideas that you stumble upon while writing, but it doesn't feel cohesive in and of itself as a fully grown piece. So I can only say keep going. You have some nice harmonic ideas and I like the strings here. The whole build-up is nice towards the end. And I mean, you bring a little bit harmonic interest by leaving the C major key. So pretty much the whole end section, you don't see that, sorry. The whole end section here is pretty much all just C major. So I said in the beginning that I may be blunt and don't sugarcoat things. So this gets boring when you stay on the same harmony all the time, even when you leave it and put some out of key notes in between. So I will try to look for a little bit more variation in the harmonic language. May not initially bring the feel of that. Well, I don't want to recompose or anything, but I just feel that this part gets a little bit slow. And overall, the mix is very muddied here. So with the percussion and the strings in the low end, sorry for the noise from outside. That whole area is very unclear. So very bass heavy and you can put some more energy into distributing the individual frequencies between the instruments. So when you have the low strings rumbling away and maybe a brass on top, and then you have the low drums, bum 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 bum, going all the time, and then maybe even a piano in the low notes. So try to distribute the frequency spectrum between the instruments a little bit more to give them a certain sense of space. When you listen quiet, you just a tip on the side for mixing purposes. When you listen quiet, you still want to be able to kind of recognize all the different instruments. Sorry, you need to turn that off. Yeah, but as I said, the whole part moving away in C overall gets a little bit boring. I'll be honest there. But nice ideas overall in the queue. Keep going with it. You have some great ideas to start with. And yeah, someone in the chat recommended It's only half a year since you got into composing. For that, it's actually pretty good. So I would recommend somebody in the chat mentioned that try to focus on shorter pieces. Go with the 30-second piece. Go with a 45-second piece. I mean, you started with a 3.5-minute piece. For only being at it for half a year, that's really solid work. So keep going and just follow your dreams there and follow your gut. Thanks, Felix, for sending in that track. Oh, now the tracks come rolling in. I don't know how much we can actually manage to do today, but next one is from Yannick Supernap JMD Music. So let's import that quickly. A minor 140. So just the comment, I've been trying to improve my trailer music chops a lot. I think I need help with the overall mixing structure for this type of music. Any comments on that will be great. I try my best. Let's see, 140 A minor. Let's go. Whew. So first of all, I think it's a good sign when I don't stop the track in between. Holy cow! Someone did his homework. Absolutely solid trailer production. Everything is there. Intro is feels emotional. I will say something about the build-up part in a second. The whole third and fourth act are absolutely gorgeously produced. I even feel that the chord scheme is A minor, F, A minor, G. There's nothing that can go wrong with that. And the main melody on top is not the best melody in the world, but absolutely suitable for trailer advertising. There is a lot of room in between the hits. The last part is perfectly suited for faster cuts, for bringing out the when you think about it from a movie advertising perspective, there is the feel, there's the emotion, there's the energy, but there's still enough room in there for voiceovers and dialogue snippets and stuff like that. One thing that I may add is it's always good, especially with these kind of trailer tracks, to either have like kind of whooshy transitions or downers and stuff like that in the break parts. It always helps the editors to have even more specific. So let me just quickly. So I mean, you know the drill, just the typical stuff. Maybe not in the first part. Although I would put a sub boom at that point, like something along the lines of where are we? Just a little. Just a low boom there too. Okay, that didn't came on the one. Just, I feel that whole the first build up, for my understanding, it doesn't build up enough. So at least from 35 till 42 here in that part, I would introduce another riser maybe that can. Let me quickly try something. So. FMG will be great for that, and maybe rather something tonal string type of riser. Let's see, boat fun. We are in A minor, so let's go with A. So I would definitely support that second part with more of a riser. That's 4 bars. No, that's 8 bars, so pretty much. So was too short, but you get the idea. So I would put a riser on this part and end this whole thing, the first intro section. Just as a transitional element, because that pause feels too empty here. There's something missing. But other than that, the whole production overall, I love the little pause before you actually bring in the fourth and final part. Last theme is great as well. I think you start on F. F major. Really, in these type of trailer cues, as tough as it is to say, but simplicity is key there. So the more simple the melody, the more approach you have for a wide audience, and they understand the sentiment behind it, the feel, and where it shall take you. And especially in trailer music, oftentimes it's more about the sound design and the production value than the actual melody. It's not like you're doing a John Williams melody for trailer tracks. It's simplicity is key there, and the production value is what lifts it and brings the energy and the feels. Mix is absolutely solid. Loud, not talking about loudness war here, it may be even a tad too much on the mastering side already, but we're talking about a trailer track, so you want to bring your balls to the wall throughout. Solid work, absolutely great. I love it. So Super Nap, very well done. Great stuff. I like that. So, next one in line. Who do we have? Let me check. Okay, the email is filling up here. We have a track called Repercussion from Semenov Oleg, if my old Russian skills don't let me go. Let me try to import that. Repercussion, there we go. And he said it's 91. This track is based on techniques that I mostly learned from your live streams. It better be good then. And also composed during the Corona quarantine period, which left a minor tone for the mood of the track. Okay, about specific question. I'm not very good at percussion. In this case, I would like to find out whether you need to add or remove something from the drums. Wrong panning, mixing. Anyway, I'm going to buy a percussion template. But first of all, my damage. Don't want to turn this into another talk about the stuff that I sell, but thanks for the mention there. Any issues about mixing and track structure? Well, let's take a listen and see what it sounds like. I can already say thanks for don't making me look like a fool. If you learned that from me, I'm very proud. hate to say that. So overall, I really like it very much. And as you said, when you learn one or two things from my streams, I even appreciate it more, especially since you didn't make me look like an idiot, because it sounds really, really good. So I appreciate that. The only thing is, at that point here, where you bring in the Brahms and the stuff, you lost me. You lost me for the whole feel of the track, because up till here, I love the motion, I love the solo strings in the back that really are very playful, and the overall mix and sound is very cohesive. And I totally just did not expect to go into a hit in your face sound with that type of cue. But benefit of doubt, so I will listen to the end, but I just want to let you know at that point, I feel this part is kind of unnecessary for the track, especially since you don't bring in, for now, didn't bring in like anything new in terms of chord progression or overall sound. It's just the same thing, just make it more bigger. I feel that it doesn't really need to get bigger here, but let's listen towards the end. I think there's a vocal coming in when I heard that correct. So let's see. Yeah, it's kind of happening what I expected. So you try to force that track into a big epic track. But the thing is that not necessarily slamming everything you have at your disposal into a track makes it big and epic. And actually, honestly with you, that part to me feels way bigger and epic than this part. I mean, there's some issues with the structure here. So first thing, if I plan on making a big and epic track with Brahms and all the good stuff in there, there's a or how to put that? There is a misconception. It doesn't really work to have like exposed solo string lines, like more a quartet or chamber sound, and then slamming big Brahms underneath. So when you go the route that you bring in the big stuff, then the orchestra needs to follow along. Then you need the big brass chords, you need the big string section. Right now it sounds like you have solid Brahms with a solo line on top that just feels lost on top of the energy you're trying to create. So either you bring the whole thing to 11, or you stick rather to the sound that you had before. And really, this sounds absolutely beautiful. And at that point, you're rather, in my opinion, destroying the mood a little bit for that track. And then there's, if we stick to the fact, okay, let's go big, then there are some issues with the big section here. The brass steps are poking out, so to say, so they distract a little bit from the rhythm. The solo vocal on top is too much drowned in reverb and underneath the mix. So if you bring a solo vocal, you actually want to have it the shining star on top of your composition, especially when you have such a gorgeous sounding vocal, but you kind of drown it a little bit in the mix. And yeah, the piano is running in 16s, and the drum is dum dum dum, and the brass does offbeat bop bop. So it's like you're slamming all rhythms and all, as I said before, everything that you have at your disposal into the track. just want to try something. So when that is 91. Okay, here we go. So pretty much what I would say, what I feel, and someone, I think Airstick Titan just said totally what I don't feel. I also definitely want you to know that the whole thing is obviously still, you can try to be as objective as you want, but it's still subjective in the end. It's a personal feeling, and something sticks with you or doesn't. I try to be as objective as possible, but I'm only human as well, and I can only give my feeling and my impression when I listen to stuff, and obviously from what I would do and how I would pursue that. But I feel that that track will be totally fine running like this. So that whole section, in my opinion, feels unnecessary for that track. Because here you stick with this type of ending or with this type of part, you stick to the overall feel that you created from here to here in the arc. So, and you're still looking at a more than 3-minute track, you know? So you stick to the feel, you kind of do a reprise of the harmonic structure is gorgeous. I love what you did here. So with that kind of structure, that track is super solid. But that whole part here, I have to be honest, it's not there in terms of production. If you want to go big, you need to go big all the way. So you need way more orchestral sounds in there, bigger orchestra, and you need to get your, you said you have struggles with percussion, and that is obvious in that part here. So I don't want to play it again. You got the idea, and you can re-listen on the stream if you want to later down the line. But this is something, if you want to pursue that type of sound of later down the road, you need to look into some more productions and try to recreate some other productions. Listen to Audio Machine, listen to Two Steps from Hell, and things like that. All the big names out there. Or maybe look at some of these courses that are available. Trailer course from Evident or Daniel Bayboom, Trailer Mastery. These are great things to get this sound that you have, that you try to achieve here, get closer to, I have to say that, to the track we had before. So that was really solid work there. But for this track in particular, I would say you can completely omit this section and rather do a nice transition here and take that as the longer outro part. Absolutely lovely track. Great harmonic progression. Very well done. I forgot the name already. Oleg. So thanks for sending that in. So Eve, your turn. Eve sent in Look at the track name. That's actually really good to know. New mastering XOXO last, mastered with Aurora at 53%. Okay, my tracks sound oftentimes somewhat similar. So we're looking at a 145 track here. 110 is the tempo. Let's see what we have here. It is in C indeed. Where did that came from? Where did that come from? That last hit. Well, given the rest of the track, I feel there was a little bit too much on the last hit there. But yeah, same thing with me. So honestly, I mentioned that in the beginning. Track feedbacks, as much as you try to be objective with that stuff, it is always subjective. The style is not my cup of tea. I have to be honest about that. I don't see much issues in the overall production. The overall balance feels great. It's nicely executed in terms of either programming or playing it live. Some of the runs are really, really lovely in there. And since you named it Nuke, I assume a lot of that is achieved with Nucleus. So I think it sounds very good. Overall, I feel, even though tonal balance control tells me differently, I feel that it's a little bit brittle in the high end. So I would really try to tame that a little bit, or at least just a very wide. So this area, and the reverb feels a little bit metallic. I don't know what you use for reverb. And the snare drum has a lot of the bottom snare sound of the what is it called? The bus. So I would tame that a little bit in the high end. So the snares are very, very prominent in the mix. So that whole area, I mean, I brought it down quite significantly. But you need to be very careful with that 10K top range. overall, the mix is very even. There's nothing that stands out very much. In terms of composition, it's always hard to judge anything based on the composition alone. It doesn't blow me out of the water, I have to be honest there. But it has a nice playful feel. So I can see that working in a production music context, given someone is looking for that type of sound. So that last hit feels out of genre and feels a little unnecessarily too big for the track. So you could easily end that with a regular timpani hit in key. So that feels like totally, it caught me totally off guard and feels like out of style. So why do you need a big trailer hit for that type of cue? That sounds very classically orchestral and playful. So that is something, if I were to take that into a library and need to give you feedback, I would say change that to something that is less big and more nice in cue ending, so to say, that matches the style with a timpani or just a regular bass drum, something like that, instead of a big hit. That track just doesn't need a big hit there in the end. It feels out of context. But other than that, great work, Eve. Well done. Really, thank you so much for sending that in, and keep going. Great work. Next one in line is Tarek. Did I download that one? He says he's still a beginner, so we have a beginner track, but that doesn't stop us from listening to anything. Was it Above the Sky? Yeah, Above the Sky. That's from Tarek. D minor 85. So my question is, how can I improve myself? Well, let's see. Let's have the flame pass by first. Okay, there we go. Oh, nice. Going to major from minor. That change is gorgeous. Oh, now we go to F. Very, very clever to bring in the D major every now and then. This keeps the whole thing very, very fresh. I like that. So overall, the last chord progression there. Very nice to C, and then to D major. That's very clever. And then I like the fact, caught me a little bit off guard, that you, instead of going to the D again, now you go to F. So a little bit of a change there. And I love that you revisit that idea from the overall D minor feel in the very end to bringing in that F sharp again. That's a nice touch there. Yeah, cello sounds like Tina Guo, indeed, in the beginning. The whole beginning part could have... I mean, the track is pretty short overall anyway. No, it's not. It's actually 220. This whole part feels, after halfway through, feels a little bit long. Because there's not much more happening. But the overall atmosphere is really nice. And you said you're a beginner. This is really solid work for a beginner as well. Especially for a beginner. So... So from my understanding, I would pretty much do this. You don't lose anything from the feel, you know? It's still in the same vein, and you bring in the first time the D major here, so that's a nice change there. And we're looking at 45, 50 seconds, nearly 1 minute in, but nothing has changed so far in terms of the overall feel, and you're still meandering in that D minor mood overall. But so you can... That added, I think, helps a lot to bring it to the point earlier. So that's the only suggestion I would give, is I think you can get rid of one of the parts in between. Absolutely gorgeous work. And if, like you said, you're a beginner, keep going. You have something there. It's really very tasteful, very nicely done. Great stuff. Who is the composer? Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So if you revisit the stream later, please feel free to leave a comment with your time and your, if you want to be exposed for that matter, leave a comment below with the timing in the video and your name and maybe a link to your SoundCloud or anything. So if people want to follow your work, because this is obviously about you guys. Also, I forgot that to mention this. I will, out of respect for your work, I will not monetize these videos, so that you can, even if later down the line you have something uploaded to Content ID systems or whatever, so we don't run into trouble there, it will be not monetized. So just so you know, and I don't want to kind of gain off of your work. So Simon, the composer for this track is Tariq Rami. If Tariq is watching, maybe just leave a link to your Dropbox or the SoundCloud, I mean. So Christopher actually has only sent a YouTube video, so I'm not sure if that is working. Let's give that a quick... again, if you send stuff, I rather prefer like a WAV file or something, so something that we can put into the session. But I will make an exception. Oh, 7:50 50. Okay, let's give at least a quick listen to what Christopher's done here. From upcoming album. So Chris said he will probably be asleep as he is in Melbourne, Australia. But let's take a quick listen. I was just wondering, why is an Aussie posting a video about ice? I have an idea. We keep Christopher's track running. I will actually switch to 1 2 1 2. I will switch to speakers for a moment so I can listen, and I can take the time to actually quickly get a new coffee for myself. So I will listen on speakers, and you can listen the track, and then I will leave my 2 cents afterwards. So I'll be back in a minute. One, two. Oops. Should have turned off the monitors. So we're still in the same key. What is the video title? A visit from a fairy in a dream. But I have to be honest, this is the first moment that the track grabs me. So everything else so far, how to put that? It was nice, you know, but nothing that well, might be quieter because we're not running that from the Cubase session, so that is coming through my yeah. Okay, that was a bit quiet. Sorry for that. Should have been louder. So there we go, a little more signal. But that's the first time that track really grabs me. But I have to admit hey guys, keep quiet. Quiet. Sorry. Yeah, thanks Christopher for, oh damn it, it's noise hell outside. Leaf blowers and the wash, the laundry is running, and there was police cars all over the place the other moment. Anyway, so it's a nice cue, the whole intro part, but I understand the sentiment. Like feels dreamy and like distant. And the arc and development is definitely there, and it gets bigger. But on the other hand, I also have to admit that it's so it's if you go with like I don't want to say simple, but with a, let's, for lack of better words, with a simpler harmonic approach in the main section, I personally feel it's not really enough to just produce the chords well. If you break it down, it's this. So I'm lacking a certain kind of melody on top, something that sticks out, you know? I mean, there's a lot of intricate elements going on there with the arps running and the harp and the, yeah, I think harpsichord, it is something like that. It's nicely done overall, but once you go big and really try to bring the track home, oh. Okay, it's F, G, and D. So there's, how to put that? There's so much going on in the track, but nothing is really happening. It's in the end, it's still, when we break it down, so at least I personally would try to bring that kind of stuff home with a melody, with something on top that soars on top of the chord. The chord structure is great there. So when you have that. It's really, I mean, that is still running within the harmonies, but a little movement in the track to not only blow up harmonies, but rather have something that really grabs you and sticks with your memory in terms of a nice melody on top. This is something that I personally miss here in that part. And someone mentioned that in the chat, it feels like a 4-minute 45 intro for a track. So but also you're really sticking to the, I mean, I may do it injustice by not listening it to the end, but I don't want to run it all the way through. But if you bring it down, you have like 7, close to 8 minutes running. So that is very badly worded on my end. It's still a very nice cue and nicely produced, but I still see a lot of potential in getting that. It really depends on the intended usage. If it's a personal album that you do, you can go crazy and do all the stuff you want. And sometimes you write this music to like get lost. You name that a visit from a fairy in a dream, so you want that dreamy feel. And you can listen to that, and there are often enough there are tracks that you listen to that you don't want to end, and you're actually happy. And I mean, there's a reason why there are like 3-hour mixes on YouTube from tracks. But I feel that it gets a little repetitive overall, and I am missing that main melodic element that really grabs you. But Chris, thanks for sending that one in. Nicely done overall. Next one is from 7 Tears of Hope. I downloaded that from SoundCloud. It was an MP3, but that shouldn't stop us from getting something in here because we can just convert it. The Knight and the Princess describes the tragedy of a captured princess and the liberation by the brave knight. It was a cold November morning in the medieval forests of a place, a country of your choice. I like that. When the brave knight received the bad news of his princess being kidnapped, he immediately calls his men and they ride off to free the princess. They ride as fast as they can and finally reach the castle in which she is desperately waiting for help. The brave knights make their way as they jump and run through the 8-bit dogs. Through the 8-biting dogs. Smile. But they notice that I have a slight feeling that I know what's coming. So lots of fighting and princess saving. can immediately say that I don't like that big percussion stuff mainly coming from the left side. There is an imbalance in the stereo field, so it feels like, oh, there is, it sounds more from the left. Also, these drums are compressed AF. Like, sounds a little bit like you squashed the life out of the percussion there, but maybe due to the fact that they're sitting all the way on the left. But this is something that really, really distracts me, I have to be honest, having that only on the left. What is the right channel doing here? Let's find out. Yeah, you see this imbalance here. Left side way louder than the right. Someone was inspired by the Spitfire winner. Which is fine. And that explains the weird looking waveform there. I'm not a big fan of the string sound, I have to admit. The short strings, they sound very synthy to me. Not sure. Something ticks me off about it. But you can also see in the waveform here that you have way more energy in the left channel than in the right channel. I don't know, is there a specific reason why you put your percussion all the way to the left? It really sounds off. It distracts from the whole piece. Just checking the low end here, and even in the low end there is a, you can see that, an imbalance to the left. Oh, you have the knives fighting in the track. I mean, the problem with bringing these sound effects is now you kind of lose the complete focus, because the swords are arrhythmic, so to say. So if you really want to focus on that and bring that out, I would either bring the music down underneath the sound effect and really let the sound effect take over, so that it's intentional, that you really want the the sword fight to stand out there, or don't put it in there at all. As it is now, it's really distracting from the music because it's clashing with the rhythms. It just sounds like you forgot to mute the audio track from a video that you're scoring to or something. to admit that everything that's happening below the sound effect there, so the whole part starting here, so we have where are we? And no matter where I click, it's always so. I would wish for a little bit more variation there. It's well, in the beginning of the stream, I said don't sugarcoat things. That whole part feels very boring. Also, the drums don't do much. They do dum, 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 dum. I can't even hear them under the swords. But we're looking at 230 to 430 here. So for 2 minutes straight, running on the same chord progression with drums and brass and strings and nothing happening on top. I hate to say that honestly, but it can only get boring if you don't change it up. And you see it in the sound waveform as well. So nothing's happening for the last 2.5 minutes. And if you want to go into that direction of game battle type of stuff, a lot of the times the energy does not come from the drums. So you do some variations in the low drums. You have dum 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 dum, then you do dum da dum 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 dum, and sometimes even offbeats. But you will never get energy into a piece when you have the whole orchestra parts doing the held chords, like having them running. So it will be tough to fill that out with long chords alone, because there is no energy in sustained chords. You know, it's a sound bed, and the sound bed cannot be energetic, or hardly. So what you would definitely want to do on that type of stuff, let's find a sequence where we don't have swords. Oh. So I would definitely try to so some kind of string movement. I think the worst part is just having sustained notes for the last 2.5 minutes. That really takes a little bit away. Also, I mean, you brought in this like 8-bit part, and I assume it was a little bit inspired by what happened in the Westworld competition and what Dave Coudell did with his winning entry. But in a 5-minute queue, the only part where you reference that is like for these, 10, 15 seconds, and then we never see that again, unless I don't hear it underneath the mix here. But so why have just a moment of 8-bit when the rest of the queue has nothing to do with 8-bit at all? So the difference is, well, what Dave did in the Westworld competition, the change was rapid when he brought in that 8-bit part. So that was completely and caught a lot of people off guard, of course, and caused a lot of controversy. I liked what he did there, but what he actually managed to do is he kept going with that concept. So he introduced the distorted guitars and the drums and everything when the energy rose in the scene. But he kept to that 8-bit sound. He kept going with it. Here it feels totally out of place because it has no further reference in the rest of the track. So it's just like, let's slap in 10 seconds of 8-bit just for the sake of it. But there's no explanation within the track why that is there. It just sounds weird and off at that point. If you would reference that and bring it in again and again and have a reason for doing an 8-bit part, because it comes up again and again. Hey David, didn't even know you were around. So yeah, if you want to try that, have a reason for it. This is a little bit off place. So seems weird to just bring it in for a short moment and then never reference it again. So again, first of all, thanks for submitting your track. Some good ideas in there, but main critique points are definitely look into mixing. So there are a lot of mixing issues. Worst thing, the imbalance between the left and right channels and having the drums only on the left, or not only on the left, but stronger on the left than on the right. So that distracts immediately upon listening to a track. And in terms of composition, there needs to be some more variation, like banging 3 minutes on the same chord progression with no obvious change in pacing, energy, dynamics, or even rhythmic changes. You listen to two loops of that, and then it gets boring because it's the same and the same and the same. And the sword fight doesn't help that on top of that. It feels to me a little bit like you realize that yourself, that it kind of starts to sound boring, and maybe slam in a sword fight just to make it more interesting. But I have to admit that that doesn't really work. Just an assumption. Maybe it's not the intention behind it, but this whole part is in and of itself too long and too repetitive to work. But yeah, keep going. Thanks for submitting the track. Some nice ideas in there. Use 8-bit responsibly, to quote David on that. But thanks for sending that in. So let's look. Who is next? Next in line. So I will definitely not go through. I got a bunch of more submissions during the stream now. I cannot go through all of these. So I think we will do 2 more for today. And then take the next one. So we have another newbie, so to say, John Fryett. I'm just getting started in learning. Tempo starts from 100, 120, and 140 at the end. Interesting choice of tempos. I don't know what key it is in. That's gonna be interesting. Um, I am a newbie, so music theory is new to me. I have piano, strings, harps, oboe, and choir. Any advice if I have too many layers or add some other instruments within? I think I need a melody somewhere in here, but I don't know where to place one since this is such a short piece. Title: Chaos. Okay, let's see. What does chaos sound like? And John, thanks for having the balls to send something in that is available publicly for everyone to listen to. But hopefully, we will all get something from it. Okay, you cut off the reverb in the end there. Very lovely. So, first of all, thanks for submitting and thanks for sharing that with us so we can all listen to it. It's a little similar to the other cue we had in the beginning of the stream. Honestly, it's obvious that you're new to this. So, but there's nothing bad about it. We all started somewhere. So, what I love about it is there is like this innocent playfulness. What I really love. It's like you may not deliberately make choices on why you do certain things, but you have a certain gut feeling to how certain things work together. And it has, yeah, the best way to put it is like an innocent playfulness. There is some stuff obviously that does not really work out. So the whole track lacks. I mean, it's called chaos, so that might be the worst feedback you can get for that, but it lacks structure. In the end, you don't know what happened in the beginning and why it happened. Some of the samples sound a little bit cheap, I'll be honest there, but nothing wrong with that. Especially here with the staccato and spiccato strings, they sound like they have no round robins. I don't know what sounds you use for that, but the strings sound a little bit strange to me, at least. Oh God, I have a hard time figuring out what harmonies you use there. Overall, Okay, I will not try to follow along with the harmony here. Overall, it has a very 20th century type of music feel to me, although I doubt that from listening to it that all the decisions are deliberate. So I think a lot of that stuff happens by accident. And I mean, this is in the end how we all learn and grow, by experimenting and by just trying out stuff. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. And then we grow upon the parts that stick with us and that work. All I can say is keep going, keep trying. If you felt like in a chaotic mind right there, it definitely feels like chaos, so the title is absolutely suitable. In terms of usability and would I use it? Would I take it? Would I take it somewhere else? I have to give it a hard no. It's nothing that I wouldn't listen to it, but that's a personal choice, and it's just not my cup of tea. But that's fine. You don't have to like every music that is out there. But I also not really see a certain type of usability, especially in the production music world. Don't really see where that would be fitting unless you do like a curiosity album or something like that with just strange stuff, you know. Thanks for submitting. Thanks for having the balls to showcase that. And all I can say is keep going, keep listening to stuff that you like, keep trying to emulate stuff that you like and trying to get close. I learned the most of my stuff from trying to analyze why tracks that I liked sounded the way they liked and try to recreate them. So that, in my opinion, helps a lot to grow. So, Non-Purple Star, I think you're next. Let me check. John, anyway, thanks for sending that track and keep going. Indeed, Non-Purple Star is the next one. That is Tempo 100. It's called An Ordinary Day in Tucson. What did you write? Because you didn't include anything that you want to know. The second orchestra track I voted for video cuts for one game. Okay, let's bring it in. And David Kudell, thanks for providing some feedback in the chat as well. Absolutely appreciate it. An Ordinary Day in Tucson. So let's see what Non-Purple Star has done here. Yeah, already suspected. It sounds very, very boxy in the lower mids or yeah, 400 or 500 hertz. So if you listen to that part, so you definitely need to check your mixing and your instruments in that range. So the 400 to 500 hertz range. Oh, so these are different cues. I got it. Listen to the difference. I would even do it like a dynamic EQ. It immediately cleans up a lot of the mix and makes it sound better. So you definitely need to keep an eye on the 400 to 500 hertz range to make sure it's not taking over your mix. Lower mids are one of the key things to clean the mix and make everything audible. And as soon as you if you just listen to the difference, even if we don't do the dynamic EQ variation, as soon it immediately clears things up, and it's like you lift a curtain from the track. So it's something that you definitely need to keep an eye on. I really like the happy vibe. It's like, yay! All is good. Definitely not a 2020 track then. One thing I can say for sure, even without you mentioning it, it has a video game vibe to it. So you definitely nailed that. It feels like video game music. In a good way. That run overall feels a little bit off time. Let's call it sloppy. I really have to hear that the boxiness there in that area is really driving me nuts. These trumpet fills were really nice. Also love the panning. They're really to the right. Brass sounds good here. Definitely a broad range of styles that you showcase here. theme is my favorite so far. Overall, from all these cues, I feel that you tend to have a tendency to concentrate a lot of these. So the mixing issues that I mentioned that are here with a 500 hertz buildup also lies in the orchestration. So you have a lot of instruments like strings and brass sitting in the same space, may not even be close voicings. So pretty much on a piano, it would be the effect if you put everything like here. So you have this buildup of this rumble and mumble thing. And if you spread that out into wider chords, instead of so I think this is a question of the orchestration used. So a lot of the instruments sound to me like they're fighting for the same frequency range. And as nice as this whole section is, this is a clear indication, for me at least, of too much stuff thrown in and fighting for the same stuff. You have a nice melody in the solo string on top or in the high string. Now the vocal comes in and you do a nice counter melody in the lower brass parts and I think in the piano as well. But it all comes in at the same time, and so everybody's fighting for the same space, and you get lost in all the musical information there. So this is rather a question of arranging stuff. I mean, I love this call and response between the main melody and the vocal, but the vocal gets drowned a little bit because in the octave below, and the brass plays the same thing. So it feels like a little bit artificially thickened up. So you could actually reduce a lot more and still have the same effect. So not doubling the vocal line in the low brass, but maybe leave the brass out completely there. The brass line there is nice. What do you have? Yeah, so it just feels a little bit too much in the same place, but overall, really, really nicely done. Some mixing issues I see that are hard to explain in just one session and so you'll do this and this and this and this and will sound immediately better. This is a process that takes some time, and it takes training on the ears, and it takes just doing more of it. But you're on a good path, and you said you're on it for 2 years. This is impressive for being 2 years on it. Great work. Non-purple star. Unfortunately, I don't really know your name. I don't want to say non-purple star all the time. But thanks for submitting the queue, and cheers. Keep going with it. Great work. Boom. So last but not least, I think we are running into the last track. I just have to see. I think I haven't downloaded, so here we have from One Mosh. This, I have to download it first, sorry. So just need to save it. It came fully loaded, part 2. It's an MP3, but that's fine. This is scene soundtrack made for local film artist film. The setting is character and scene shoots up heroin. The music is background to scene to portray the euphoric feeling he feels during his high and death near the end. Just looking for any input as to layers, sound level overall, as well as mix. Oh, Scambot is that actually. Scambot sent in a track. I didn't know that. Okay, let's take a listen. It came fully loaded. Overall mix, I can already say that it looks pretty quiet. Let me make sure that we turn that off. So. Are we going to expect 8-bit since we are now on a drug trip again? 120, okay. That's I will keep playing, but I'm just reading Scambot's comment here. This is one thing I want to tell you guys. 2 things. When you send stuff for review purposes or whatever, never ever write in an email, "I'm sorry for the bad mastering. I'm sorry the track is shit." It's boring without the, just as Scambot has just written. The track is boring. I'm sorry, it's boring without the movie scene. If you feel like that about your music, don't send it in at all. If you say, "Here's my track, I'm sorry the mastering is so bad, I didn't have time." What? I mean, you send it in for someone to give an opinion, so why not try to send in the very best you can provide at that moment? And if you're not happy with the mastering, sit your ass down and get back at it. Master it till you're happy and then send it off. So it's absolutely essential that you trust in your own work. If you don't trust in your own work, how should anybody else? It's a common misconception that you need to apologize for your work if you send it off to someone. You would not work on a film and send off a track to the director to review it and tell him, "I'm sorry, it's not 100% there yet." You're off the job immediately. Because if you send something out, it is what you feel best for the time being you're working on it. And you can be proud of that. There's no need to excuse yourself about not meeting certain kind of standards or whatever. This is not what it's about. You send something off because you did something. Of course, you're asking for feedback. You ask if something can be improved or something is better. Or maybe you know that your snare sounds shit and you can ask for, "Have you an idea why my snare sounds shit?" This is something else, but overall, sending off a track and immediately apologizing for sending it in the first place is kind of the wrong approach. So if you send it off, be proud of it and stand to it. This is your work. You have done that. You created something from nothing. This is more than a lot of people out there manage in their whole lifetime. So be proud of what you do and never, never, ever apologize for sending something that is not there yet. If it's not there yet, then don't send it off in the first place. If you send it off, be proud of it and say, hey, what do you think of it? I did that. So this is one thing that I really want to put out there, because when I got the emails, this is oftentimes, even in the title of the email, here's my track, sorry it sounds shit. Well, if it sounds shit, then don't send it, you know? But if it's something that you're proud of and that you really want to know how you can improve upon, then go all in and say, here, I did that. What do you think? You know? So please keep that in mind for the future if we do that again, if you feel like that should be done again. This is very dear to my heart and very important for me, that you stand to what you do. This is your work. This is your baby. This is your stuff. I know how hard it is to send stuff out anyway in the first place and let someone else judge your baby. And it's even harder when you work for a client and something, you know. I always kind of have to smile when you have a client that asks you, yeah, I need a branding, an audio logo. Can you do 4 different versions? I always go back, no, I fucking can't. Because the one version that I send you is the one version that I 100% believe is perfect for you. And I will not do something else that might be 80% fitting or whatever. I can only do one time 100%. And this is what I believe it should sound like. And then we can work from there. But I don't send 7 versions right away from the beginning because you are unsure how it should sound at all. You need to trust my gut feeling there. If you can't do that, then, well, we have a problem. And maybe we should not work together. Maybe you should find someone who sends you 8 versions of something you're looking for. But if you ask me for something, I give you what I feel is best for you. And that can only be 1 version and not 7 or 5 or 3. So just on a side note, I'm drifting off here, sorry. Scambot, sorry for that. So again, movie scene, drug, _. So from a standpoint of creating an atmosphere, you definitely hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's definitely tougher to give a feedback on that kind of track, because if we break it down, it's a held drone. There are nice elements going in and out and have that dreamy atmosphere. Or, I mean, you said about a drug trip that ends in death. For that, I would suspect at least a little bit of a development towards even more darker sounds or something. Right now, the atmosphere stays the same from beginning to end. So it may work together with picture, but from the track itself, you cannot see any kind of development in there. So I totally get that it's an underscore. It works in as an underscore for I can imagine a movie scene. I mean, you can imagine a lot of scenes on top of that. That could also be a landscape shot, just going through the mountains, over the river, into the sunset. So the drone itself doesn't really give a hint on what it's showcasing. With the drug stuff, I could imagine even more weird stuff going on. If you talk about this type of underscore for the scene that you described. So I personally think I would have gone a little bit more, not creative, but experimental, and try more stuff that maybe rubs you in the wrong way, because I mean, it really depends on the mood you want to showcase with the scene. But as you mentioned, a drug experience, getting close to death, drifting off, there is not much that the music reveals about that. It may work with the picture together. I can imagine that it may work, but from the music itself, it doesn't really give away much. In terms of the mix, there's nothing wrong with it. So the high-end stuff here, I think Cubase just crashed, or at least the fab filter. Sorry for that. Okay, yeah, somehow my Cubase is not behaving the way it should. It's hard to criticize anything on the mix here, because honestly, there is not much to mix. It's a drone with some high-end plings going left and right in the stereo field. It sounds fine, you know. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, somehow my Cubase crashed. So maybe my Cubase wants to tell me that we should come to an end with this stream. Overall, scan mode nicely done. Nothing wrong with it, but also nothing that kicks me out of the park, you know. So yes, you broke my Cubase. I blame you. Let's go back to the main view here. There we go. So overall, I hope that you had a lovely time today. It was a first for me. I actually liked that. It's fun to listen to your stuff and to see what you do with your music. And I really hope that you all got something out of that. And when do you sleep? Sleep is overrated. Can't sleep enough when I'm dead. So yeah, all in all, I did like today's stream. If you liked it, and if you have suggestions how we can improve the concept overall, please leave a comment below the video, so it will be available live for everyone to watch afterwards. If you're happy with that, I likely can look into doing this kind of session once a month or something like that. I also had an idea. Maybe you can think about it. Leave a comment below, a comment on that underneath the video as well. I had the idea of maybe not reviewing just regular tracks that you've written, but maybe take it a step further and let everyone have a little fun and actually set up little briefings, like say, okay, for the aim in 4 weeks is to have a little track based on that and that brief. We want to do this and this with the music, and have everyone come up with something, and then we see what everyone does with the brief. I could see myself writing something along these brief lines as well. I think that can be pretty educational. So there's something I'm thinking about right now, that because I'm always thinking what is helpful for you. How can you improve? How can you learn something new in the process of creating music? So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Like having a brief and say you have 4 weeks time. It's no competition or anything like that. There's nothing to win. It's just you can create something, and you have a, especially in these uncertain times where we're at home all the time anyway, and there's just craziness going on in the world. Maybe it's cool to have like a little goal for the next 4 weeks. You know, little track, briefing, this and this, write a love theme or write a tension underscore for a crime scene or something like that. And try to, thanks. Strawberry time. So create little briefs that we all can work on, and then listen to what we've done with it. So that might be something you guys could be into. So leave a comment below the video if you're into that. Then I can set something up like that. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I think that's it for today. I definitely had fun with you guys. Some great submissions, and oh yes, strawberry time again. And thanks for tuning in. And shameless plug, of course, at the end, I just released my trailer strings ostinatos MIDI pack, so check the shop. I also introduced bundle pricing now, so if you need to get more stuff, you can now bundle stuff and get it cheaper. Cheaper is always good, right? And thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Again, for the next time we're doing a review stream, patrons go first, so you can find the link to my Patreon underneath in the video description as well. And yeah, cheers everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and see you around. Talk soon. Bye-bye.